Hi, my name is Jeremy Watkin. I am from phone.com and Communicate Better blog. It's a blog where my friend Jenny and I write about good and bad customer service experiences, all in an effort to improve the way we do customer service at phone.com. And in fact, to make it awesome. We are all about awesome. So, I'm not liking my hair today, but we're going to press on. And I'm here with Jenny. Jenny, I'm drinking water from an Nalgene bottle. What do you got going on over there?
Hey, Jeremy. I'm drinking some water too. Cheers. Coffee or water and customer service.
I have water all over my shirt now.
Hey, it's better than that Thai food you spilled earlier today.
That's there too. Crusty. Probably could have changed my shirt before this hangout.
Nah.
So we don't have any viewers online, but it looks like maybe you have an audience.
I do. I'm sitting in the conference room right by on the way to the bathroom, so everyone's going to pass by me because it's after lunch. So you'll notice my eyes diverting over here with looking at the urgent faces as people run by. Thai food day,
We'll try and press on. So how was your week this week, Jenny? Did you learn anything cool?
You know what? I did. I learned that people really like wearing their pajamas to work. And it just kind of started as a whim. I remember talking to a couple CSRs a couple weeks ago about, oh, maybe we should just I feel like wearing pajamas to work. Oh, why don't we have a pajama day? So we had a pajama day, and a lot of people got involved. Everyone was totally willing to wear their PJs, literally roll out of bed and come to work. And we had bagels, fresh bagels, some orange juice, and we all just kind of hung out in our PJs and joked around, took some group pictures, and it was fun. It was, it just kind of added this little element of coziness and camaraderie as we all were in our PJs working all day in the office, and it was fun. It's interesting the pajamas people wear, and some people, the pajamas they don't wear. You learn a lot about your coworkers. But yeah, dress-up days are fun, and PJ day was a hit. So it was really, really great time. You missed out when you were in the Windy City.
Yeah, thanks for planning it when I was gone. So my question for you, what value do you think that provides to a customer service team to do something like that?
I think it just helps bring everyone together as a team. We all did this together, and it helps to keep the environment fun. It keeps the mood light, and it just really brings people together. Everyone likes being in most people like being in their PJs, and it was just fun. And it brought people from other departments in, because we really were just going to do it just for our customer service department, but it brought other people in from other departments, and now, and then other people who didn't dress up saw us in the PJs and were like, oh, well, I'm doing that next time. And so it's kind of bridging all of these teams together as one, and it's really cool. I'm sure there's many other lessons that I may have missed from that day, but it was a really positive experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, we definitely need to do that again.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of the next one.
Okay. I was thinking, generating some other ideas. There's so many opportunities. 80s Day. What about dress as a child day and bringing your childhood picture, like high school picture or something? This is going to happen. It's going to be great.
Might just wear some of my kids' clothes.
Oh. So it was very fun.
So I had a fantastic week this week. I spent the first half of the week in Chicago, or first 3/5 of the week in Chicago, at the ICMI Contact Center demo. It was a fantastic conference. Chicago is such a cool town. I'd never been there before, but the conference was amazing. I'm still unpacking everything that I learned. but it's cool to see all the great new technology that's out there for contact center. Great to get some great training sessions to learn from some experts in the contact center field, and also fantastic to meet up with new and old friends at the expo, or the demo, I guess. That was fantastic. I think one of my cool takeaways from that, and I'm going to write about it more later next week, I think. One of the big things, we did site tours the first day, so we went and saw a company called K-Cura in the morning and Cars.com in the afternoon, and it was super cool to have these larger customer service operations basically opening their doors, welcoming us in, showing us everything about their customer service operation they could think to show us. One thing I really liked from K-Cura especially was they just had their mission and vision plastered all over the walls, and clearly just the way they set up their office, they were big on taking care of their employees. They had really cool meeting rooms, and then these cool breakout rooms that teams got to decorate, and that's where they kind of went and did their collaboration together, which was really neat. But yeah, it's exciting. But then, on the other hand, we're still a small contact center. I went to a session held by Brad Cleveland, who's a senior advisor at ICMI. He talked about how for us small contact centers, he just gave us a lot of encouragement on how to keep going, how to be effective, and so that was really exciting for me. But yeah, great conference. Look out for my post next week because I'm going to talk more about it. Made some awesome connections.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just not to break and give any spoilers, but what's one? I mean, you mentioned one takeaway, but one thing that you took away that you want to implement here. One thing that stood out the most to you.
Well, a couple things. First of all, our knowledge base is kind of in a state of transition right now. We're building it, and I feel incredibly affirmed that is one thing that we really need to focus our energy on to improve and make it really a living, breathing part of our organization. Because it's almost like having another customer service representative or 10. Because it's there to answer a bunch of questions that, so potentially our CSRs don't have to answer all those questions. So I'm really excited to get that rolling. And a quote that I heard that was awesome from a guy named Todd Hickson, he works in the Cabela's call center. He said the knowledge base is all about making the unknown known. Unknown issues, you shouldn't have unknown issues. If you have them, make them known. I think that was just a great quote. Another thing that I loved in that seminar with Brad Cleveland, he's, trying to encourage contact center folks. And I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I will wait to do something until I have the right tools and training even. And he was like, as a small contact center, you should never be in no man's land. Even if it takes a long time to do something that you think is essential, you really have to do it until you get the right tools in place. You can't wait. He was just talking, I think, in terms of this company was waiting to analyze trends that their callers were calling about because it was a lot of legwork. When instead they found a workaround, and it wasn't perfect, and they eventually got a better tool to do it, but in the meantime, they didn't sit out in no man's land having this problem and not responding in some way. So, felt encouraged. I'm sure you identify with this, Jenny. We're asked to wear so many hats in customer service, and we really need to just continue to do the best with what we've got often and push for more resources, keep pushing. But I think small contact center people are awesome, just in the way they end up wearing so many hats. So there you go.
Nice. Love it. I can't wait to read your post about more.
Yeah.
Cool experience. I see on my team, and everyone who goes there, it's great. Great crowd. So, very cool.
So what else did you have going on this week?
You know, my other post was an interesting experience about, and it was a challenge. It was another choose your own adventure. It was a challenging one where you did everything you could with the customer for the customer. You spent extra time with them. You went above and beyond for them, and you did all of this documentation for them and authorization of all everything that was needed that they wanted, and they still weren't happy and they were being aggressive and it's like, when you get to a certain level, when is it okay to fire the customer? And I didn't quite put, I just kind of wrote out the scenario and asked our readers what they would do. And it was just, really much of a struggle. And the comments were pretty great to hear just how important it is, where you got to set those boundaries. Like, how far are you willing to go and do what you're willing to do before you say, hey, I don't think we should do business together. And is that okay? And how do you present that to a customer and, protect yourself? And, you want to be nice and do everything you can for your customer, but there are times when you can only go so far. And where is that level? And when do you stop? So it was kind of just one of those things that makes you question, your relationships with customers. Is there more that you can do? Yes or no? And is that okay? And how can you make sure that customer is happy even if they're not with you? So it's just kind of an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah. How does it differ? How would you say it differs from the example of the house cleaning that you gave versus someone that you're providing phone support to that's 1,000 miles away?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, if you know that there is really nothing more you can do, and let's say it's just really not going to work out with you and that particular customer. For us, maybe their network, they can't change it, and they can't get it to work with voice over IP, or their numbers just aren't transferable to us, and we really won't be able to help them. It sucks, and they're probably really mad about it, but what can you do? Maybe you help them find someone else, or maybe you just guide them in a different direction. And I think that's okay. You're not necessarily always just saying, no way. You're doing all that you can within your resources and your abilities, and sometimes there's just those limits. Sometimes there's really nothing we can do. Maybe they can't change their network at all, and they have to keep that particular phone number, and it's managed by a local telecom, and they're not able to transfer it away. It's disappointing, but how can you still help them and then also, take care of yourself and be able to be like, I said, this is it. This is all we can do, and I want to make sure this is taken care of for you, so here are my suggestions on the next steps. So in the particular scenario with the house cleaning, there were really no next steps because the person was starting to get a little aggressive, but when you're face-to-face versus when you're on the phone, you still have to set those limits when you've done as much as you could do.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting because the post I wrote yesterday about the shoe retailer who I was waiting forever for my energy gels that I ordered. Like, I waited more than a month, and even on a good day, they take over a week to ship them, and that's different because when I order shoes from them, I get them almost instantaneously. Well, I guess within 2 days, which is kind of standard for these online retailers these days. But when I called to ask about the status, the rep basically told me why they hadn't been shipped yet. Didn't give me any other options, and basically left me with no choice but to cancel my order. I didn't want that. I really just called them because I wanted my stuff and I wanted to know where it was. I wasn't looking to cancel my order, but that was really the only option I had. So It's kind of it's kind of before you get to that point with the house cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
My suggestion was they could have offered me something different. They could have offered me some sort of alternative. And as the customer, I might have met them halfway. I probably would have been more than happy with it. With energy gels, I think I just picked whatever sounded good at the time. I probably would have tried a different flavor. Also told them, the old adage, one to say yes, two to say no. It's such great advice, always. If you feel like you have to say no to a customer, at least get a second opinion. And then the third thing was, I took it from that book, Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard, but the store manager that goes out and buys an item from another store to sell to their customer, rather than sending their customer away to another store, they go away and get the item and come back. I mean, what if the company had purchased the item off Amazon for me and sent it to me? I mean, that would have made such a huge difference. But would you? So I go back to your post, Jenny. Would you say that in that story, the people involved actually did their due diligence and went through some of those alternatives? And secondly, were there any other alternatives that they tried?
Yeah, well, I'm going to jump back for just a second because I think I wonder how those employees are empowered to make those decisions. Are there policies that tell them no, they can't even offer that, so it doesn't even cross their mind, or they just not aware that they have the opportunity, or I'm curious about that because some people will offer make those things happen, but if the management tells them no, you're not allowed to, then they won't and they can't, and then it looks sucks for you as the customer. So I think it's really interesting to jump back and think about that individual and how they were trained and what they're empowered to do and make decisions like that. I think for the house cleaning, it was about what's different with the house cleaning is that it's all done by a checklist and a contract, and so when they walk through it, everything is looked at and marked at and talked about and discussed together with the customer. You're then and there. And then when they do the final thing, they could have kept going and going and going and doing more, but it would have been more money, and this person wanted to pay nothing. And it almost just seems like one of those individuals where I'm going to keep seeing what I can get out of this because these people are nice. And some people, will take advantage of that. But I think, it's challenging because when it's all done on a checklist and you have a contract and it's signed and whatever, and then they still went above and beyond and did this for cheaper than the normal pricing, and the person was still going off about little things that weren't discussed or that were told, no, don't worry about it in the first place, and he signed off on it, then changed his mind, but didn't want to pay more for these things. I kind of just feel like you're in this strange situation where you could have done it, and maybe you could have done it for free, but is that really the best thing to do after all this time has passed? I don't know. What would you do?
Yeah, you have to draw a line at some point. And it's hard as customer service people because it's ingrained in us that we need to take care of the customer, and you obviously you don't want to leave it on a bad note either because you want them to come back, but if it becomes clear they're taking advantage of you, then
The only other thing I might have suggested to the individual who was doing that was, well, let's schedule another appointment and we'll make sure to take care of this, and I'll charge you at a discounted rate, and we'll come back next week and we'll finish it up. I would have maybe suggested to do something like that to see if that was something they would be open to, and maybe by then they would calm down, or they'd have, but that would really be it. I don't know.
That's also, as an employee is trying to figure out the line, it's a difficult position for customer service folks to get in, and I think that's why supervisors and managers are so important, to just get that second opinion from someone who's likely more experienced as well, and might have a different angle to come out with the customer to help them understand their responsibility too.
Very true.
So you brought up an interesting point about the whole empowerment. The retailer that I was talking about, the employees have a canned reason why it takes longer for accessories to get
Mm-hmm.
shipped out than for shoes, and it's all about the weight and the postal service that they use to do that. Which I'm fine. It's still, I guess, an excuse as to why I didn't get my stuff in the time I expected to get it. Um, and the point that I didn't call them out on the blog, but I sent it to their support just to let them know about my issue. And the other point that I said was, I was like, your competition, Amazon, Zappos, they are often shipping stuff overnight, if not 2 days, and it doesn't matter how much it weighs. They ship it all the same. So, it's funny how it gets back to marketing and all that stuff. That if you want to stay in business and be competitive, you got to deliver like your competition does.
It'll be interesting to see if they change their ways in the next year or so, because the more that these, Amazon takes over and all that stuff, they're going to have to either jump on board or, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so convenient and their service is great. So, I mean, you talk about some companies that will sacrifice great service for low prices, but Amazon doesn't seem to be doing that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wrote in the post that I have a huge crush on Amazon, and that's definitely true, but also want to support a running store that's more local to me as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're kind of, I guess we're touching on similar issues there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you and I both have been in this over the phone customer service for so long. I guess you've done retail customer service, but it'd be interesting. Maybe this is an idea for a post, but sometime to just compare and contrast your experiences between serving someone in person versus over the phone, and how those differ, which one you like better, what's more challenging. You have a wider array of experiences than I do.
Well, I guess mine are mostly like food services. I never really did retail stores, but food, coffee, chocolate. So feel like
we're just chocolate.
These candies.
You worked at C's?
I did at the Fashion Valley Mall in college. It was seasonal, but I did it for about 6 months total.
Did you have to wear one of those cool C's outfits?
Oh, yes, I did, and most of my coworkers were over the age of 70, but it was really great. It was really great. And
yeah. You need to dig up a picture of...
No, there are none. There should be none out there. And if you find one, you're doomed.
I don't think you have any dirt on me right now. I think it's all out in the open. So I might hit a gold mine there.
Oh! Oh boy. But it definitely is different serving people in person than on the phone. I mean, I kind of like, when you make that connection with people, face to face, it's pretty great. But you can do that on the phone too. It's just when people are, when they get really, really angry, they're more willing to be more angry on the phone than they are in person. Not all the time, but most cases, people are willing to. You lose that personal connection when it's on the phone sometimes, and people can be a little more harsh, I think, than they would be face-to-face. But when you deal with chocolate and coffee, well, coffee, there's lots of crank people, but chocolate, for the most part, every person that came in that store, if they looked unhappy, you just handed them another piece of candy and they were fine. So it really was a really positive place, and they're very happy people coming into that store. Coffee, on the other hand, people can be really edgy before their coffee, and when you deal with them, you just have to be real patient. But
all right, so this is a total tangent, but what's the weirdest drink you ever made for someone?
Oh, wow. I might have to think about that. There were definitely some like, the mocha frappuccinos are supposed to be this blended beverage and supposed to be like kind of a thick, more like a shake. But some people would want, 5, 6 shots of espresso in them to really boost them up. So they'd have all the sugar and they'd have all this caffeine, and then they'd want all the whipped cream and all the caramel on the top. And while that may not be the weirdest, that was probably the most extreme because then it makes it this liquidy consistency, and you're just literally drinking just pure sugar and just pure caffeine. And that was, man, making notes, you're like, oh gosh, someone's going to have a heart attack later. I don't know. It's rough. If you drink that, no offense, but anyone else who's watching this, but
It
rough.
sounds like the recipe for a headache for most of the day.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Wow. Well, it's been great hanging out, Jenny.
Absolutely. Cheers to Friday.
Cheers. Oh, yeah, you got it right. I cheered my monitor, which.
Here we go.
So yeah, these coffee and customer service hangouts we do virtually every week, never at the same time. We were just talking about how maybe we will progress enough to where we have these at the same time in the future. If you're ever interested, if you're watching and you're ever interested in joining us for a hangout, we'll give you a great topic and we'll enjoy discussing with you. We love making new friends on our hangouts.
Yes.
And we just wish you the best weekend. If you want to share anything about the week that you've just experienced, leave us a comment. Read our blog, communicatebetterblog.com, and take care.
Have a great weekend.
Oops.